Probably. Oh, Caterpillar. I'll meet you down at the backpacks. Logan told me if I can pedal up this rock roll, he's gonna give me a high five.
I guess it's harder for me than him.
See if I get a high five or if I'm left hanging. Cool, then we chill out here. And we take our time. Woo! All right. I got a high five.
I came into this video with a lot of prejudice. Flaunting a mind full of SL EMTB stoke, this massive Norco Sight VLT CX showed up, weighing a good 6 pounds more than my go-to e-bike at the time.
50.86.
50.86, okay. Oh my God.
With shoulders tired, batteries depleted, and even a recall on the frame seat stay.
Yeah, that's a workout right there.
Within a few weeks, this poor Norco Sight VLT was quickly fulfilling a sentence of neglect. The North Shore-inspired machine was barred from the tacky spring trails, spending its time rotting in a dusty back corner of my shop. But ironically, some of my favorite experiences with bikes follow this same story arc. One day, through luck, mechanical witchcraft, or unique self-discovery, these basement dwellers can return to the trails for a comeback story that would rival Rudy's entrance to the field at Notre Dame. But before we get onto the field, let's back up to the steel mill.
I got a big box here. It's for a bike, you know what it is because you've seen the thumbnail. The second e-bike I ever showed on this channel came from Norco, and I'm excited to see how far they've taken the whole e-bike concept since back in 2020. All right, let's get it open. Oh, cool. I thought this was gonna be a hard bike to build. This isn't gonna be too bad. Norco's range model, yeah, weighs like 60 pounds. This bike should be 10 pounds lighter. Heavier than I said I'd ride for e-bikes, but I wanted to give this a try because it has the new motor. Man, not much for a bike build anymore. Parking lot test. Ah! The bars are a little low for me and the reach is a little bit long. I'm gonna throw on some higher rise bars in an effort to shorten the bike a little bit. And it's a 40 mil long stem. I think I might have a 32 or a 35 for just a little bit less reach because I'm only 174 centimeters, 5'8". This S3 Norco sizing is a smidge bigger than what I usually end up preferring. I'm very curious the kind of range I can get having this modern big ol' system. Geez, it's a lot of power. I'm gonna put on some heavier duty tires so I don't get flats, throw on bars, stem, and water bottle cage, and then I think the next time we'll meet up, it's trailside. Without further ado, I'll see you guys on single track. This bike's been good. I've got 2 rides on it so far, and it's disgustingly dirty. Let's go make it 3. I forgot to film the first 2, so let's film the 3rd. While filming this video, I wore apparel from a company called Endura. Endura sponsored this video, and they've been a supporter of my channel for quite some time now. For most of the riding shots in this video, I'm wearing either the MT500 kit, which is the more racier looking outfit, or these Humvee shorts. The Humvees are really fun, and I want to tell you about them today. They're just a simple cargo short, works really well for mountain biking. There's some zippered vents in the front for the hotter days. There's integrated belt loops. It comes with a belt, and you can just swap in whatever belt if you might have at home if you have a favorite belt. Beyond that, the 4-way stretch fabric is extremely comfortable, dries fast, very durable, and doesn't catch your saddle, which has been really helpful for riding bikes like this that have a steep seat angle. All right, thanks Endura. I'm gonna link to the Humvee line available at Jensen USA in the description below. I gotta navigate this climb. Anything you purchase over at Jensen will help support my channel. And if you've ridden Endura product before, please leave me a comment down below. All right, let's clean this climb. Easy peasy. Cool.
With videos like this, if there's anything I can do, it's attempt to figure out how to best enjoy every bike that rolls through my shop. In the case of the Sight VLT CX, I had taken a look at this giant 800 watt-hour battery and assumed this was a long-distance machine.
Clear.
I did a few longer distance rides, and just as I would do with all the SL EMTBs I had, I hovered around the lighter assist modes.
It's a big jump for this bike.
This typically preserves battery in order to have a decent length ride.
Yui. That's fun.
But in the case of the Bosch CX5 motor, trying to use the lighter power modes was highlighting the otherwise exceptional motor's weaknesses.
Why am I running orange? This is weird. Let's log in with the app and see why it's error mode. Typical e-bike shenanigans. acceleration sensor does not work properly, restart your bike. Okay, I think we're back in action.
The system requires a fast cadence, faster than I like to spin, especially with my flat pedals. At first, I even dialed up mountain biking's cheat code and went to clips. I know many sponsored videos claim this bike to be light, but flat out, I find this bike heavy. It's 52 pounds as tested with both pedals and proper tires, 4 things needed to ride a mountain bike. Yes, 4, go ahead and count them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, I love counting.
And despite using the lower power modes, the resulting range wasn't great. I was getting at most only about 2,000 feet more range than the lighter weight systems. And those SL bikes offered up more fun on the jumpy and technical bits of trail, the thing you actually remember after a ride. And then the final block of the site's Jenga tower was pulled. Norco emailed that the seat stay was being recalled and asked me to stop riding the bike. Now, if a bike has a known weak link, I do tend to experience that, so I heeded that warning closely. I found myself instead riding the Pivot Shuttle SLAM, the Yeti MTE, and the M-Flow. Those bikes were all easier for me to understand than the Norco, which was solitarily completing its sentence in the sawdust and heaps of half-worn tires that adorn the back of my shop. I wonder if it'll still turn on. Oh yeah, full battery still. I have not ridden this thing in, oh my gosh, it's been a minute. But then FedEx dropped off a small package, then a larger package. A quick hour in the workshop and the site was back together.
And now we got a fresh brand new swing arm on. Should be a better brake mount so that we don't have a problem. So this is the difference between the old and the new. I just installed the new, but you can see the inserts are way bigger on the new swing arm than the old one. We're gonna run this and we're gonna have fun. It's gonna be great. Thank you, Norco, for sending a new swing arm.
The faulty brake insert is noticeably smaller than the updated. Huge props to Norco for initiating the recall. Too often there are companies in the industry who figure it's easier to service a handful of warranties than to initiate such a big move. On the rebuild, I grabbed a set of 40 mil rise salsa bars, but otherwise kept the bike stock. Except, of course, for the flimsy tires. I used a set of Maxxis double down rubber to stay safe and happy. And for the true experience you'd all want me to have, I also registered the bike and downloaded the latest Bosch Power update. And here's where the story changes. I don't really care for gobs of power. I just need enough. I get my power thrills on my motorcycles. But once I do this adventure, we can get this out of here and I can have my yard back so I can get back to doing important things like wheelies on my Sur-Run. I use my bicycles to interpret the trail in my own way, to express myself through wheelies, gaps, and carves. To really enjoy a bicycle, it needs to be responsive, nimble, fun. This doesn't happen at 10 miles an hour up a fire road. This also doesn't happen at 7 miles an hour up a fire road. Bicycles with too much power aren't all that great. I have detuned other systems as a bicycle tire offers too small of a contact patch to really utilize more than maybe 85 Newton meters, or maybe 700 or so watts.
Buckaroonies.
But what really surprised me was that after the update, the Bosch CX5 ended up getting pretty good range in that full boost mode.
This thing climbs way too good. Pedal clank. All right, Bosch CX5 climb challenge.
Boost has more than enough power, but somehow it also feels more controlled than it had in the past.
Whiskey throttle.
I'm gonna ditch the GoPro. Gets in the way a bit. Ah! Gosh darn it. I'm gonna point my levers down. Secret hack. All right, there it is. Woo! All right, made it. It's a hard climb. 100% gradient, 45-degree angle.
I could get close to 6,000 feet of range at that full power setting with minimal stress. I rarely have time in my day to do more than 6,000 feet of vertical, or 2,000 meters. While the M-Flow does have more available range, it's not a ton more. Speaking of M-Flow, an old friend came into town and he rode the M-Flow, I rode the Norco, and we finished the ride only a few battery percentage points apart. Yes, the Norco is thirstier, but it's not terribly off the M-Flow. If only it were as light as the M-Flow. While M-Flow leads, the latest update means Bosch isn't far behind. The main area where the M-Flow excels beyond the Bosch is in control. The Bosch system could definitely offer a better, more intuitive control of the power, and it could definitely better sense the rider's torque. Having ridden both systems quite a bit, buyers shouldn't regret purchasing one system over the other. At this point, I was enjoying the Sight quite a bit more than I had in the early spring. I understood that for best results, I had to leave my ego at the door and just leave the bike in boost. It's going to be heavy, but it has a very short back end, an excellent choice given the rearward axle path. Compared to other bikes I've ridden in this weight category, the Sight is surprisingly agile and playful. Most high pivot suspensions I've ridden now, whether the Rocky Mountain Powerplay, the GT Force, or the Sight VLT CX5, do a pretty good job on jumps and for bunny hopping. It's not all comeback stories though, and there is a permanent record still on display. The suspension starts to feel weird under braking power. And the GT Force, well, it's more noticeable there with this trait than is the Sight. But this in turn is forcing me to become a better rider. I'm practicing choosing the smoothest places to use the brakes and choosing where I want the suspension to work better. DW, FSR, VPP, they are all more forgiving when braking, maintaining traction better. But the high pivot is a fair compromise. And when I don't want to think about all this, well, it still works well enough. So that's pretty high praise.
Big bike, but she flies. Yoo! Cocaine. Yes, that's it. I don't know how to hit this new little jump, so I'll just do the old big one.
The suspension kinematics feel great, better than the fluid I rode last year. But that stock Lyric fork could use some more damping and stiffness both. Fox's main two benefits of a 36 Grip X2 are exactly those same two items, so you can bet I'll swap one of those over. The RockShox Super Deluxe Select Plus, holy cow, what a mouthful, is a really good rear shock, but the bike has a small amount of play at the top of the travel. It's kind of like a little bit of a clunk. It could also use just a little bit more damping for all that weight smashing back down.
Here, listen to the clunk that I've got just at the top of the travel. There is a little bit of, this microphone's gonna sound terrible. There is a little bit of play at the top of the travel. It's not a problem when you're riding the bike. Once in a while, I'll notice it, but it's such a minor thing in the big picture. Eventually, I'll try Fox suspension just to give it a shot with more high-speed compression, but this has been pretty good.
If I could upgrade one thing, it would be the suspension and the wheels. Wait, that's not two things, that's actually four.
Hey! Oh, wow. That's a super low engagement back hub. 18 points of engagement on the rear wheel. It's not fantastic for low-speed tech moves.
Now, the stock wheels, well, they are flexy. When I cased the jump, I flat spotted and destroyed the rear wheel.
Good job, Evelina. Oh, jeez. That was the worst I've ever cased that jump. Holy cow. I tried the big jumps and I wasn't going fast enough and I cased really badly and wrecked my seat. And
how did you wreck it? Oh.
Ow. One of my biggest complaints of the Norco Sight is the poor WTB wheel set. I used to work at WTB and their products are near and dear to my heart. Unfortunately, Norco spec'd the wrong rear rim. This is a 50-pound long travel e-bike and Norco is spec'ing the KOM Team rim. Now, KOM rims in the aftermarket come in light or tough. And you'd think for a long travel heavy duty e-bike, they would use the KOM Tough, which has two I-beams in the center for strength. Unfortunately, Norco used the cheap version of the KOM Light rim. Why is it a lightweight rim on a heavy duty 50-pound bike? I don't know, there's no I-beam in here. Well, I cased the jump and I did case it pretty good. I was following my kiddo off of this thing and you can't go kiddo speed. Completely flat, it buckled. So I rode this rim for a couple days after ruining it. And it survived. That's the nice thing about alloy rims when they break. They don't usually break catastrophically. But yeah, plan on swapping over to the correct Tough or whatever other rims you want to do because these are not going to make it for the long haul. And then I did propose to the rear hub. It came with 18 points of engagement, so I got it a new engagement ring, and we're up at 36 points of engagement now for a little bit more low-speed technical control. Easy, cheap swap. You're probably gonna need to spend 200 bucks on new rims and swap them over. You could probably reuse the stock spokes and nipples and just tape the rim to it and move them over. Fresh spoke prep, tension it up nice and tight, and you'll probably be okay.
WTB makes good stuff, but this was a bad choice by Norco.
Yeah.
To fix this, I discarded the destroyed stock wheel and installed my usual Industry 9 wheels. These are the same ones I've been riding for the last 4 seasons. Yes, the stock wheels lasted a few weeks, but my normal wheels have lasted a few years. Now go ahead and get mad in the comments that I didn't rebuild the stock wheel with the same rim. Well, I'll be too busy riding with my new setup to care that what I did is not Keyboard Warrior approved. And right away, I was enjoying just how stiff and predictable the bike felt with the upgraded wheels. When I swapped wheels, I also added a cush core to the rear. I didn't realize how poorly the Bosch magnet gets along with the cush core valve stems. The stock Maven brakes have been by far the best Mavens I've ridden yet.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
If I panic brake, they do lock up and wash the wheels out immediately, but after 5 bikes that use Maven brakes, this was the first time I found I could generally enjoy them. It's hard to tell if the centerline rotors are what, but they have more modulation than any other set of Mavens. The Norco's steep seat angle bugs me, as it feels awkward to me on rolling stuff and completely in the way on steep climbs, so I slid the saddle back on the rails as far as I could. I have been dropping the saddle more often riding half mast, which works well, but it's more work than simply going with a more mellow seat angle of 76 or so. I did swap from the stock 170 dropper to a P&W Loam set to 185, and I'm much happier now. Speaking of happier, now that I understand the Sight, I really like it. The brick and mortar bike shop support of a brand like Norco and the Bosch drive system is quite strong. The bike itself rides fantastic. Norco's use of the high pivot suspension is solid, and while it has some subtle compromises, it's a system I've been learning to really appreciate. The frame stiffness is fantastic, and the weight balance front to rear is surprisingly good. With the weight of that drive system and big battery, the short chainstay feels awesome.
Oh, how did I case that?
Not to mention, it grows some deeper down in the travel. I really enjoyed the fluid last year, but I would definitely pick the Sight over the fluid.
Let's dust this thing off.
Ride it again.
There we go. I better get the leaf blower. The Sight VLT absolutely surprised me at how much fun it is. I really enjoyed the Amflow PL Carbon Pro. All the power, all the control, all the torque, very lightweight. But this thing is fantastic. I do think this frame build quality is slightly better. The suspension is slightly better. The geometry fits me a bit better. I prefer the shorter back end and the slightly shorter reach. You know, when I'm stuck picking which e-bike to ride, I've been finding myself on the Norco more than I ever expected. Yeah, hard to beat this thing. Good dealer support, good pricing. They've got a proven track record of building bomber e-bikes. So yes, it's a little bit heavier, lacks a little bit of the fine tuning control, but on the flip side, a couple other things are a little bit better. So this is another great competitor to that Amflow PL Carbon Pro that we're all talking about. Thank you all so much for joining me. Huge thanks to Endura for sponsoring this video. I've got the full Endura Humvee range linked to at Jensen USA in the description down below. Take a look at that by hitting that link. And then huge thanks to Norco for loaning me this bike. I'm actually tempted to ask if I can buy it because I like it so much, but at the same time, I should probably save budget for buying bikes I haven't yet tested. So there is that. If you like this video, please hit subscribe. Say thanks to Riley for helping edit. Say thanks to Logan for helping film. And with that, I'll see you in the comments. Peace and wheelies, everyone.